All right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Illinois Green Party. I'm your host, David Rich, with a very special guest tonight, Toneal Jackson. Toneal, how are you?
I am great, David. It's so good to see you again. Happy New Year to you.
You as well. Thank you very much. Yeah, we're getting the band back together, at least most of it.
I know, right?
Toneal, Anna, who's behind the scenes every one of these episodes, and I used to be on Toneal's show
Yep,
back in about a yearish ago, maybe 8 months ago, something like that, right?
yep,
Okay. Toneal
yes.
Talks Politics, which was great. We went over each episode was dedicated to one of the 10 platform positions of the Green Party. So it was really cool the way it was organized like that. Very, very cool. So now it's my turn to interview Toneal about her
Oh,
views on things. And
yeah.
we have here being a Green Party show, we're trying to get Green Party candidates, Green Party members who are running for specific offices.
Mhm.
And you are running for Metropolitan Reclamation Water District of Chicago, I guess. Is that how it goes?
It is Greater Chicago, yes. So pretty much if you are a Cook County resident, then you can vote in this upcoming situation. So right now we are in the midst of signing petitions. So it's still the early stages where we're all going out. I mean, like literally old school, door to door canvassing, hitting you up at bus stops, train stations to get your signatures for our petition. So that way myself as well as my running mate Mark Bittner, our names can go on the ballot.
Yeah. Okay. So you're actually running. So we had Mark on a few weeks ago. Tell us what does that mean that he's your running mate? Aren't you running for two specifically different offices,
Well, we are,
positions?
but we're still kind of aligned in that we're both working with and for the Green Party. So, as an example, if someone was to see both me and Mark on our petition, you have both of our names on the same petition, so that if you sign for him, you're signing for me. So you're really kind of supporting Green holistically. So that's really the reference in that.
That's very cool. And as a Green Party member myself, I appreciate that because yeah, when you both win, you'll have an immediate coalition on the board,
Yeah.
and water turns out is extremely important to life. So just a wee bit, just a wee bit there.
Yeah.
So that's very cool. So why don't you tell us? I want to get into your personal accomplishments too, because you are an extremely accomplished person.
Gotta
Just
stop it.
what's that?
I said, you better stop it.
No, you are, absolutely. And so I want to hear about that for sure. But talk more about this position. What, like, when you win, what would you do?
So here's the thing, there are a lot of different things that people don't know about the MWRD. So just let's do some quick bullet points. What the MWRD does, what most people need to know is the fact that they protect your home, your business, your neighborhood from flood damage, right? So when you're looking at storm water, all of that buildup in your basement, then that's one of the issues that the MWRD addresses. Also, one of the things that they do is they help to clean wastewater. But here's the thing, being a commissioner is not the one and the same as working with MWRD, right? So the two principal things that the commissioners do is the fact that we help to create policies for or against water in the water environment, and then we also provide oversight of the MWRD. So it's really more of an administrative position what the commissioners do, and there are a lot of committees that we have. And so for me specifically, I am all, you know me, I'm all about educating and empowering. And so one of the committees that they have is actually called Public Information and Education. They have a variety of committees, among them that one, affirmative action, ethics, but they also have things specifically for like stormwater management, wastewater, things like that. And so for me, when I get elected, one of the things that I really want to do is to help increase the education about MWRD. Because as we were talking about behind stage, you were like, because I don't want to get this wrong. And so many people, what we're finding out, many people don't know about the MWRD. Either they've never heard of it, they don't know what it does. And it is really one of the least talked about offices when you're talking about politics. It's not even really, to me, it's not really political. It just happens to be in that same vein. And so what I want to do is really just kind of increase people's knowledge about what it is, what it does, and how they can benefit from the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District.
That's very cool. Yeah, I gotta be honest with you. I mean, I know of water plants, treatment plants, and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I get that. I see water towers all over the place. I know that, there are certain political areas that deal with that and allocate it through to houses and buildings and stuff like that. And I guess, without even thinking about it, I guess I just sort of assumed that water treatment plants did everything, but it turns out that that isn't the case.
No.
What goes in, water coming in, like say from Lake Michigan, is a different operation than the water going out to the houses, which is where you guys come in.
Yep.
Yeah, right. Okay, because you're dealing with cleaning up the water after it's already been, toilet water, sewage
Exactly.
water, stuff like
All
that.
types of wastewater. Yep. So
Yeah, waste.
basically trying to clean the water, treat the water. And then that's where the people come into play, is because, one of the things that they also want to do is to develop innovative ways to reuse and renew resources. And so, admittedly, 9 people, they're 9 commissioners. So 9 people can't figure it all out. Even you have people at the plants, but it's always good to hear from other people, get that feedback. And
Absolutely.
then there are other things that the commissioners do, again, from the administrative side. There are different, like one of the meetings I sat in on, you had the Austin Voice newspaper. So Austin is like a west side suburb, well, not suburb, but a west side area in Chicago. And so they had representatives there talking about what was going on within the Voice newspaper. But then they also recognize, so there are a lot of different committees and issues that the board of commissioners actually help to deal with in different contracts and things like that. So yeah.
That's very interesting. So it sounds like it would be a full-time gig, right?
Well, you know what? It's actually, what was brought to me is that it's really more so a part-time situation. So it's not a 40-hour-a-week situation,
Oh, okay.
which is really good, because for someone like me,
Yeah,
I would
you're
not,
busy.
yeah, if it was not part-time, I don't know that I would honestly be able to take it on in conjunction with everything else that I'm doing. So yeah.
Do you get paid?
Yes, it is a paid position.
Oh,
It
okay.
is a position, yeah.
So let's talk about the politics behind it, because you're right. You're right. It's kind of an interesting. Some of these, being more aware of like local elections stuff like that over the last few years, doing my radio shows and stuff. I've realized that a lot of these offices that are elected positions is kind of counterintuitive. Like Lake County. I don't know about any other county, but I know Lake County coroner is an elected position. I'm like, okay, that was, and I've interviewed the previous one and the current one several times, and I always ask, why do you think it's political? I mean, would a Democratic coroner like zip up a body bag differently than a Republican one would? I don't understand. I don't understand how politics ties into it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same with this thing. Are you gonna like just not clean the water? Are you gonna clean the water differently than like a
What?
duopoly?
And to your point, David, like they make everything political, I think, simply because it has to be, right? Like we are just like that type of society where it's either black or is white, is rich or is poor. Like,
Right.
and some issues, as you're saying, they're universal issues. Like, so well, whether we're talking about water, food, the environment, we all have to live on this planet we call Earth. And so you would think that it would be universally important for us to protect it, regardless of what political party you're aligned with. But yeah, even this, it comes down to red, blue, or green. So yeah.
Red, blue, or green. That's well, good. Are you aware of anybody on the board right now and where they stem from politically?
Well, I believe everybody on the board is Democratic. So I don't believe that there are any Republicans on the board as
And
of now.
that makes me happy. And not that I'm a Democrat, but I take Democrats over Republicans almost any day.
Any day
I
of
would take the Green Party member over any of them, definitely any day. But because there's too much tendency in the Republican Party for like climate change denial. And when you're talking about things like water usage and stuff like that, that's eventually going to become an issue. Climate change is going to tie into all that stuff. So if you're somebody who's on the board and you don't buy that that's happening, that could be a very dangerous situation for a lot of people. So you know what I'm saying? A little bit, yeah. So, well, very cool. So is the election November, or is it coming up soon, or is it a different one?
So pretty much what we're doing, we are out circulating petitions from now through March 6th. The filing time is March 7th through the 14th. And so then you have the primary election, which is June 28th. But kind of in a way, it doesn't really affect us because there's no one running against us within our own parties. So Mark is running for 6 year, I'm running for 2 year. So really our main concern is getting enough signatures so that we can make it to the ballot. And then yes, the general election will be held November 8th.
Okay, when no, November, isn't it November 6th? Maybe it's the 8th. I don't know. I don't remember. Anyway, maybe it's like the first Tuesday of the month. Maybe it's a different day. Whatever.
Yeah,
what was I gonna say?
It's the 8th. It's November 8th.
It is the 8th. Okay.
Yeah, because it's the first this year is the first falls on a Tuesday, but it's November 8th. That is the date.
Okay, so it's a Tuesday. It's all right. Gotcha. Well, very cool. How do you feel about your campaign so far? Are you up and running yet? Or you?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I am definitely up and running. I was waiting for them to announce January 13th. That's the day when we could first get started. And so what I've been doing, even with my platform still, is encouraging people, if they want to support, letting them know there are a few different ways they can do that. So if there's anyone who lives in Cook County, and again, it's such a vast area, right? So it goes as far south as like Matson, so south suburb. And then you also have like Evanston and parts of Schaumburg, different those suburbs, as well as like Maywood, Bellwood. So it's really, and then you go to the east side of Chicago. So it's really a big thing. So it's not just, we want to make sure that people understand this is not just a Chicago thing. This is a Cook County thing. So if you are a resident of Cook County, and if you want to help have petitions circulating, whether you're a member of the Green Party or not, maybe you just don't want it to be, a Democrat in there again, or there are no Republicans running right now to my knowledge, and you just want to have another option and you want to be able to help, then you can reach out to me, reach out to us, and we can get you signed up so that way you can help volunteer to circulate petitions. But even if you don't want to do that, you can just kind of commit to signing the petition yourself, right? So letting us know, hey, I signed your petition. When are you going to be in this area? And then that way we can kind of go and get your signature. And so there are a variety of ways that people can help. And again, just by sharing this show, right? So anytime they see a message about the Green Party, about the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District candidates, they can always share that information.
Very cool. How many signatures do you need to get on the ballot?
So for us, so it's always a technicality, right? So officially it's about 1,150, right? But because you're thrown off, because we are an independent party, they're always going to try to kind of object to the signatures or fight certain signatures. So what we try to do is try to get at least twice as many. So for me, I'm like, let's go. We're going for 2,400. So that's really, and when you think about how many residents are in Cook County, like getting 2,400 shouldn't be a big deal.
Well, especially for you, you're kind of the queen of Chi-Town.
You gotta stop it. I'm not, but I will take it.
You're super famous. I feel like you're bringing up the southern county, and I'm dealing with the northern one.
Well, you know what? Let's go with it.
Let's do it. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's frustrating that the Democratic Republicans are so adamant about, like, there's no doubt over this I on this name, so we're gonna get it off the ballot. I just want everybody to know that party suppression is voter suppression. Just, there's literally 25% of the voting population in America that does not identify with either Democrat or Republican Party. And it's unfortunate that within a supposed democracy, they just go unrepresented. That's ridiculous.
Absolutely. And, I was reading a couple articles where even President Biden kind of interjected and was saying, because a lot of times what happens is the Democratic Party, and for the more known offices like the presidency, senators and representatives, where the Democrats have been known to start suing. They'll sue the Green Party. I want to say it was in 2018 they said that the Greens were representing like 44 offices, and as of last time it was 26. And so much of that is because of the fact that they're suing, just little nitpicky things, because they don't want to have other people on
Right.
Yeah. And so, like you said, you would think that it should just be a fair fight. We're already the underrepresented party of the two. You've been out longer, you've been around longer, you accept corporate dollars, so why not just run for the merit of your politics and then just let the better party win? But yeah, not so.
It is not the case, and well, hopefully within our lifetime, it will become the case because it's kind of a no-brainer to me. Like it's obvious that you should allow any party affiliation, and not anyone. I mean, you don't want the Nazi party, but, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's a last-minute technical difficulty on my end, so I just switched to my phone, so I can't see the chat section. Can you see it?
I just see Anna. And matter of fact, no. Hold on. Let me go here.
Where it says chat.
Oh yeah. So Albert just asked about the signature requirements, and then
Okay.
how long have I been a Green Party member and what encouraged me to run for an elected position? Albert, that is a great question. So to answer the first one, I've been with the Green Party for a little over a year now. I want to say I joined, it was October of 2020. I found my home with them during the pandemic, and it's such a crazy story as to how I was doing research for a show, and that's how I kind of learned more about the Green Party and inadvertently became a member. What encouraged me to run were my Green Party members. I've never, and David, I think you know this about me, I don't consider myself a politician at all, right? And so many people, when they heard that I was running for office, they were like, wait a minute, you're running? Like, you're not a politician. I'm like, I so am not.
That's good.
No, I'm not a politician. I don't describe myself as one. I am just one who believes in community. I am one who believes in doing what's right for the people. And I believe that we need to shake it up a little bit. Like, although I'm not against anybody personally that now sits as a commissioner, I don't think that there's ever a bad thing with getting more fresh ideas into a particular office. And so that's one of the reasons why I am running. When I found out about the MWRD and the fact that nobody really knows about it, and just you'd be surprised how many articles there are about the fact that nobody knows about it. And so, like for me, I am one that really wants to create more awareness about it because it's so important. And so those issues, Albert, so having the encouragement of the Green Party themselves and wanting to better represent our party holistically so that more people know about us, but also wanting to bring this office to light, those were really the reasons that made me, that initially encouraged me to run.
For this specific position.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. So did you ever consider anything else, like
no,
duking
sir.
it out with Lightfoot or anything?
No, sir. No, you know what? It's so crazy because people for at least the last 5 to 10 years of my life have said that they see me in some political office. Like, I had a girlfriend that was like, yeah, you ever run for president? I'm voting for you. I'm like, yeah, no, that'll never happen. But what's really crazy is that I don't know. I mean, let's just throw it out here and just bookmark the show just in case it happens. I don't know that it would be far-fetched to see me run for Congress. Like, I could see myself as a senator. Don't ask me why, because it's just something that's in my mind that has just kind of a couple conversations. It'll just kind of be thrown out there. I'm like, yeah, because when I become senator and I'm like, where did that come from? So I don't know if I'm just like speaking something or if it's just random. Who knows? So we'll see.
Exactly. It might be divinity speaking into your ear that this is your destiny.
Who knows? So, but for now, no, I don't see anything else in my future. No.
I think it actually is a bit, it's wise, I think, too, and practical for a third party member to run for a more local office before shooting too high. Because a lot of people, when I was signing up to run for a smaller office last election, I went to the district court to fill out the thing, and I put Green Party. It said party affiliation. I put green on top, and the guy's like, "There's no such thing as a Green Party." I'm like, "Yes, there is. Here's my card." My point being is that some people don't even know that there is one.
We exist. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So you start shooting. Not that we shouldn't have presidential candidates and Senate candidates for senator and Congress because we should. But I just think it's a good first step to start with something local. Get the name brand out there.
Absolutely.
Your identity out there. People go, oh, she's a Green Party member. Let me look at the Green Party. This is
Yep.
great. This is good stuff. All right, well, very cool. And then when you do run for senator, we'll have you back on the show.
Absolutely. Please have me back.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Well, did you tell us a bit about what's going on with you right now? Because you are like you're a writer, you're an author, you're a speaker, a lecturer. You have your own show. Pick one of those and start going down the list.
Well, you know what, David? Let's do this. So I'm aside from running for commissioner, the other two major projects that I have working that I'm working on, there is a book and a documentary combo, right? So the name of the book is called Being a Black Man is Harder Than You Think. And I know it's like, how in the world are you a Black woman writing about a Black man? But what happened was, I don't know, I just had this inspiration to do a compilation. So this is where I've interviewed 28 different Black men across 12 different states, just on a variety of issues. So this isn't a relationship book. One of the things that I found is that a lot of times when women talk to men, they only want to talk to them as it pertains to relationships and what they think about, women. But for me, it's so much that's going on in society right now, especially from a perspective of a Black man. I just wanted to gain some insight from him and to hear, like, does it matter what part of the world you live in, or at least the country that you live in? And so I have Black men who range from age 30 to 70, all different professions across, like I say, 12 different states. And I asked them the same set of 28 questions. And so, yeah, so that's pretty much what you will find inside of the book. And then up until today, the documentary was called the same thing, but I got a little inspiration, and so it's been changed to The Four Eyes of the Black Man, right? So the documentary is going to cover the four eyes, being identity, influence, insecurities, and impact. So
Nice.
that's really what it's kind of going to cover. So it's almost like an excerpt of the book, a visual excerpt of the book. And that is going to be going live. So we are going to premiere that in the theater here in Chicago, 87th Street Theater, on Monday, February 28th. That is the last day of Black History Month. So when I first did it, I was initially thinking to kick the month off with it, and had the month started on a Monday, I would have done it. But just trying to get people here from all across the country on a Tuesday, it's a little bit more difficult. And so we said, okay, if we can't start the month off with a bang, then we'll close it out with a bang. So that's really what we're doing right now. That's one of the main projects, is this book documentary combo. And so it'll debut at the theater. And it's going to be a big to-do. It's called the Black Man Extravaganza. And so we're going to have the book release there. You're going to have the movie screen there. And then at the end, there will be a question and answer, like a Q&A segment, and I'll be presenting the Black men with awards. So it's going to be really different. I've never seen anything like it. I've done something like it, but I've never seen anything like it before. So I'm really excited about that. So yeah.
That's amazing. Who's filming the documentary? What production company
Oh, no. So this is so so, yeah, no. So this is really like, everything in my life is independent, right?
Okay,
So
good.
um it started, again, keeping in mind that this is happening during the pandemic. So because of that, what we did was, to get everybody, I had to do everything via Zoom interviews. So you're getting the extractions from that. And then we have just like the B-roll is a little bit interesting. Again, everything about this is going to be a little bit like nothing you've ever seen. My daughter is helping me with a lot of, she is in school for filmmaking. So this is kind of her expertise. And so we're doing some things together. I have another, what you call these people, cinematographers. I have to get these titles together, but I have some other indies that I'm working with. And so it's going to be very interesting to see it. So far, I'm very happy with it as it goes. And like in terms of conceptually speaking, I'm having a big part on that. So I guess you can probably call me like one of the producers behind it. So yeah, it's things in me that I didn't know that were there that are coming out on this project. So yeah.
That's why I just think you're so amazing, is that you're constantly doing something. You're constantly seriously expanding your own awareness of yourself and your abilities, and that's what everybody should be doing. You're definitely an inspiration. Yeah, because editing is videos and stuff like that can be really just nuanced and very detailed and monotonous, and like you're gonna spend an hour on 3 seconds of the documentary, trying to get it right.
Yep.
I don't want to do that personally, but
Yeah,
so.
it's a lot. It's really a lot, especially the way that I'm doing it. Because I will say this, I am one who loves documentaries, and so
I love them too, yeah.
Because of that, it gave me the creativity to shape mine the way that it's shaped, right? But I tell you what, I gained a whole new appreciation because you just see, as the viewer, you just see the final outcome.
Right.
You have no clue, like you said, how many hours that you have to sit through and sift through just to get the best 3 second, the 3 second. You're listening to like 3 hours of clips, just say, oh, let's get this word, and that word, and put, so it's definitely a lot, but it has let me know, no, I don't think that I'm called to be a documentarian. Like, I don't know if after this I'll do any others. We'll see. I never say never anymore. But yeah, this is definitely a part of me that I didn't know existed until it did. So yeah.
That's very cool. I'm really eager to see to see the outcome of all this.
Yeah.
I've got like 8 million ideas for documentaries, so maybe I'll use this as a springboard for my own inspiration.
Please do, absolutely.
No, I mean, I got so many. It's ridiculous. I need the money to pay the people to do the editing and stuff like that. I'll be the face and the interviewer. That's as far as I want to go. I'm not going to sit there for an hour to deal with 3 seconds every time. I'm not doing it. I'm not that patient, but well, that's very, very cool. Can you share with us like maybe one or two of the responses from one of these gentlemen you interviewed about being a Black man in America?
Man, so I'll tell you this. I'll share with you from the 70-year-old. Okay. So, because I have three, he's the oldest of the group. And so there's another gentleman, I think that's like 66, somebody that's 61. So I wanted to get a good mixture. But there was a question that I asked when I basically asked him, in the last 70 years, has the world really changed? And he's like, the way that they want us to look at it, yes. But then he literally goes down the line from things that he's seen as a boy, because again, he's born in 51. So he's been here when Dr. King was here. And he tells about a time when he came to Chicago about, like the poor housing and the education and all those different issues that were facing us back in the 60s. And now you look at 2021, 2022, and he's like, and the same issues are upon us. So in a real sense, things really have not changed. And I will tell you, for me, David, what really got me to tears in many of these interviews, these men don't know each other. Again, they live in 12 different states across the country, yet when I asked them about, like, so many of these answers, same questions, so many of the answers were the same, simply because they're Black men, right? So like when they're the question, one of the questions I asked wasn't even about police, right? But obviously when you talk about racism, whether or not you're affected by racism, so many of them reference, well, because I'm Black, I know that I have to have my hands on the steering wheel, or because I'm a Black man, I have to, and so just the fact that this is what you're taught. Like, one of the gentlemen shares what he's teaching his sons who are like 10 and younger. So the fact that this is a part of, when I was 10, I wasn't being taught what to do and what not to do if you get stopped by the police. And the fact that this has to be a part of their actual training. And again, this was not like an isolated incident. Every man that had a son pretty much said mimic the same thing, regardless of his age. Like, this is what you have to do. This is what you have to know. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate fact that we have to contend with, is that African American parents have that conversation with their children more often nowadays.
Absolutely.
So, if you get confronted by a cop, here's what you have to do because you're Black.
Yep.
I never had that conversation. Never needed that conversation.
Absolutely.
It's really infuriating.
Absolutely.
Okay. And how did you find these gentlemen, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh my goodness. So it was really a variety of things. A couple of them I'm actually related to. So a couple of them
Okay.
are like cousins, but then I just know a variety of people. So whether it's from the literary world, being an author and having met them that way, or from my previous shows having them guest that way, or just some of the different things that I've done. It might be churches that we fellowship with over the years, so just different ways that I've connected with people. And I'm the type of person, like, especially as I get older, once I connect with somebody, I need you to stay. I need you to stay around, because you never know when or why you may need someone. So, you just always try to remain nice to people. And,
All right.
I try to stay in touch with people at least once every 6 months or so. Just, hey, how are you? Especially in this pandemic, right? Like when the pandemic first hit, every Monday I went live just to do a wellness check-in, just like, how is everybody doing? Because a lot of people were not okay. There were many people who are extroverts, and they were climbing up a wall, having to be in their homes when we had the actual quarantine. For me, I'm more introverted. Everything that I do, I can do from a computer. I don't need to I don't need to go around people. So that's how come this whole commissioner thing is also crazy, because I'm literally outside going up and down stairs to people's doors, ringing doorbells, knocking on doors, introducing myself to complete strangers. But in general, I have a heart for people. That's the bottom line of it. And so these were all guys, and I had no clue what they would say. Dave, when I tell you, like when I got hit with the idea to do it, and I just instantly started writing down my list of people that came to mind. And I just kind of like sent either a text or called out, like, hey, I got an idea to do this project. Can I interview you? And like when I say nobody gave me a hard time or anything, the hardest time was getting the scheduling together, because even in the midst of a pandemic, people are busy. And now, because you can't really go places, everybody is always on Zoom. So to try to set aside 2 hours to just interview somebody, like one of the people I interviewed was my children's principal, the principal of my children's school. So
Oh,
like to
neat.
him, that was, so that's what I'm saying. Like I got a lot of different caliber of people. So I have from just your regular entrepreneurs to PhDs. So I got people who make minimum wage to six figures and everything in between. So yeah.
Wow, I can't. Is the book out yet?
It is not. Everything will be dropping the same day. So everything will be available February 28th. So what we're doing, we're on the countdown. We have 5 weeks to go. So what we are doing is pre-orders are available.
Oh, the
So if
book comes out
anyone
the same day as the documentary.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
I see.
So people will be able to. So right now, what you can do, you can either go to indiegogo.com. There's a campaign there, or you can go to my website, which is my name is Toneal.com, and there is like you can. There are different tiers that you can purchase. So, say if you did a $40 tier, that would be a ticket to the show plus a hard copy of the book. But then there are different levels of it. So just depending on what you wanted to do, if you just want a ticket to the show, so not the book, not seeing the movie. I mean, wait, not the book and not the award show. You just wanted to come and see the film, then that's $15. So like, yeah, and they can go to the website and get all of that information.
Very cool. Very cool. I'm a huge proponent or fan of college. Not that it's for everybody. I get that. This isn't a judgment.
Mm-hmm.
I loved going to college.
Me
Is there
too.
any chance you can tell us one thing the PhD said?
Oh my goodness. So with him, when we were looking at, I'm trying to think of the questions that come to mind. So one of the questions that everybody definitely had to, I mean, everybody answered every question, but that stuck out. He was saying about how he was actually on his bike, so like not motorcycle, but physical bike, and how the police pulled him over, pulled him over. He had stopped to look at, there were some properties and they were for sale, and whatever the neighborhood was. And so he, pulled out a notepad to write down the information, because he also buys property. And the police basically stopped him, because, and they kind of like was starting to question him, because they assumed that he was trying to do things to break in, as opposed to the fact that he could actually be using that information to buy other properties. And so, and he has properties now, so that's certain things that just happens, regardless of what age, what race, I mean, not what race, but what age you are, where you are, what part of town, because I want to say he was on the north side when this happened. So yeah.
Oh wow! So not even like on the west side or the south side or anything like that, where there's maybe a higher expectation of something like that. But okay, yeah, no, that's crazy. No, I do a lot. I spend a lot of hours a week looking into researching policing in America, and watch a lot of body cam footage from cops and cell phone footage and that kind of thing. And there was one video that I've seen multiple times of like the same thing. There were two black gentlemen, and one was a real estate agent. The other one was perhaps interested in buying a house, and he was showing the house to the person. Some white person saw it, called the cops. Cops come up, handcuff them until instead of just asking him what they're doing, and he can show them the real estate, they can card or whatever. They had to handcuff him and go through this whole spiel and everything else, and of course they let him go at the end. But it was all on video. It's just humiliating.
Till then, absolutely. So that's one of the projects I'm working on. The other one, real quick, I'm actually about to launch a network.
I'm
about to launch a network. So the network is Educated and Empowered Television. So I have a channel that will be on Roku, Amazon Fire, both Android and Apple TV, as well as you'll be able to download it to your phones. Yes. And so that was something I was talking to Anna about. I need to talk to you guys as well, because I definitely want something or somebody from the Green Party represented on the channel. Because again, for me, it's all about giving exposure, especially for us, bringing more awareness to our party. And so, so that's something that we are definitely doing. I want to launch that in March. I initially want to launch it in February, being Black History Month, because again, our tagline is changing the way you see history, right? But I figure it won't be bad to launch it in March, because March is Women's History Month, so it still kind of works. But yeah, so those are the two main things that I've been working on beside the commissioner run. So yeah, she's been kind of busy.
You're very busy. Not to mention that you have children.
Yeah. 4 of them. So
4 kids. You have 4 kids. I mean, you are the busiest person in the world.
Yes. And you know what? But this is the time to go for me, right? Because their birthdays are October, November, December, and January. So I'm now officially out.
Get it all the way before you get out.
I'm officially out of birthday season. So like I typically try to work as much as I can, because my January baby, she's a New Year's baby. So like after January 1st, I go from like January 1st throughout September, getting as much as I can done for the year, because like they shut down my calendar for the rest of the year. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, absolutely. Which is what they should.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Okay, well, very cool. When you launch this network, let me know. I'd love to be a part of it. That'd be great.
Absolutely. We'll definitely talk after the show. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Tell us about your writing career. I mean, because this isn't the first time you've written a book, not even close.
No, I have been writing since 2011 is when 2010 officially, but technically like out loud 2011. So it's been a decade that I have been writing. I have 17 books out. One of them is a national award winner. My first one was called Pleasing Your Partner, A Spiritual Guide to Happiness. And then my 5th book is an international award winning book that's called Inspiration from Above. But yeah, I have when I first came out, that's really when I did more like touring and just like as an author with the author hat on only. So, I was out and I was going, you name the place and I was there. So whether you're talking about, not just Chicago and the cities within Illinois, but I was in Texas, I was in Kansas, I was in, Michigan, in Baltimore, in Miami, like pretty much everywhere. And because you can't learn unless you do, right? Like reading is great, but you have to get experience. And so, good, bad, and otherwise, I traveled this country learning about all the different types of book events and expos and festivals, what to do, which ones not to do. And that's how I began a lot of the relationships with other authors and seeing what they do in other places, because everywhere is not like Chicago. And I don't know if that's good or bad, but everywhere is not like Chicago.
It depends on where in Chicago you're talking about.
Yeah, like even if you go to Evanston, doing an event in Evanston is not the same as doing an event in Chicago. And so a lot of times I've actually found that localized events are better because it's more of a supportive feel. You know, it's like they're more interested about who you are. And a lot of times when you do events here, it's really just quick, you know, especially if you're doing bigger events like Black Women's Expo, you know, something that has like tens of thousands of people coming. It's a whole different experience. But that's how I started, just, you know, being an author, writing. And 2 years into doing that, that's when I developed my mentoring organization, Artists Promoting Success, where now it's a network of authors where we kind of teach you what to expect. You know, we educate you on the business of being an entrepreneur, because it's more than writing a book. And so I kind of use the term authorpreneur, where you have to know how to write, yes, but you also have to know the business side, because once you're published, you have to know how to sell it. You know, have to know how to market it. You have to know how to promote yourself. So that's pretty much what we do under that umbrella. And then, like a year after that, we launched our publishing company. Then a year after that, I had a bookstore. So I had my own bookstore. Couple years in Forest City and a couple years on the west side of Chicago. Then in 2017, we started doing the gala. So like this is our 6th year with the gala, where we honor independent artists and, you know, authors. So yes, a lot that I do under the literary umbrella. I have a writer society where I teach people how to write, give them that platform to like contribute to an anthology. So yeah, that's so because of all those other hats, this is actually the first book. So I released a set of prayer devotional journals at the end of 2020, coming into 2021, but I didn't release anything in 2021. So doing this book here, this will be the first book that I release. And honestly, I don't know when I'll be releasing another one because of the whole commissioner thing and the network owner thing. So being an author is still a passion of mine, but it's more so a backseat passion.
Yeah, no, for sure. You got to kind of distance yourself from certain things at certain times to get other things accomplished. That's not unusual or anything to worry about. That's how it goes. So that's very cool that you've been writing, that you have so many books out. Do you enjoy? Did you develop a writing skill like as a child? Did you get a degree in English literature, creative writing, or something like that? I mean, how did this come about?
You know, it's crazy because I never saw myself as an author. I'm not one of those people that said, "Oh, one day I'm going to write a book." That was not my story. But ironically enough, I have always done. We used to call them diaries, so I always kept a diary. You know, I just used it because I felt that it was very cathartic. You
What
know,
do they call them now?
journals. Now,
Oh,
now
okay,
everybody
okay.
yeah.
I'm like, what is
So
okay, that's
now it's
true.
all
Okay.
about journaling. Journaling is like such a hot topic now.
No,
You
no,
know,
no, you're right. That
before you
confused me for a second. I'm like, what?
Oh
What
yeah,
else?
no. Before
No,
you were not journaling. You didn't even let people know that you journaled. You know, before you kept your own personal diary. You
had a
record
little lock on it.
absolutely had the key with you. You know, hid it under the bed, and
Mhm.
now it's like everything. And I'm not whether it's good or bad, but it just is. Everything is for everybody to know. Whatever it is that you've ever gone through, we tell it all. You know, and I am an advocate for transparency, so I don't have a problem with that. But it's just different. We'll just say it's different than it was say 30 years ago. But in either case, I did actually my undergrad from DePaul is in communication. When I
Oh,
graduated,
okay.
I wanted to be a journalist. That was really what I wanted to do. I thought that I would be going to Atlanta and I was going to specialize in journalism. You know, like that's really what I wanted to do. And life just had a different toll. It took a different role, but I guess not too different because I still end up coming
You're
back.
still doing it. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great. And
yeah,
DePaul is a good school, so that's a solid education there.
yeah.
No, very cool. That's very interesting. But I'm glad that you got back to it. That's great.
Thank you. Thank you. And again, it's not necessarily that I wanted to, but it just took its own it was like, okay, you're gonna write this book. And so that's how I wrote the first book. But then from there, it was like Pringles. Once you pop, you can't stop. So then I had ideas to write, a children's book, and then it was another book, and then it was another book, and everything just gave you inspiration. I'm a person that I look for inspiration in what most people term as the small things. And I just posted today, let's stop saying thank God for small favors already, because every favor is big. Like, you need all of them to get to where you are. So it's like people don't look at waking up as a big thing. But if you didn't wake up, how could you do anything else? Right.
You
So
couldn't.
absolutely. So that's my thing, is just be grateful for everything. I try to live a life where I have an attitude of gratitude at all times.
I love that, actually. I love that a lot. And that's actually something that I'm trying to focus more on nowadays for myself,
Yeah.
is to find things as blessings, and be grateful for things, even the smallest things. I mean, because you're right, we take absolutely almost, especially in this country, we take almost everything for granted.
Yes.
And there's something as simple and common and ubiquitous as waking up is a huge deal. You just have to sit down and think about it for a moment.
Absolutely.
That's a fantastic attitude. I love it. Another reason why you're an inspiration. You have just a very positive attitude and demeanor. Yes. So, well, let's we got about 10 minutes left, and this is a political show, so let's talk a little bit about politics, shall we?
Okay. Sure. Let's go for it. Look,
Well, let's talk about
let's talk about politics.
and I'm going to start off with a more social thing. But do you think that America is legitimately actually a racist country?
Yes.
Okay.
I hate it, but yes.
As do I.
Because it's too many things that's in your face to prove otherwise. Like, even though the media controls the narrative, even the narratives that they show, you can't help but see that racism still definitively exists everywhere. So yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that to make it specifically America that's racist, you just got to look at the systemic racism.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that very, very much so, this country was founded on the attempted genocide of one race, Native Americans, and the enslavement of another. Absolutely. That is fact. Absolutely. And if you don't buy it, if you don't believe it, there's something wrong with you, and you need to not ever.
Absolutely. All you have to do is read, even though they don't have books in school anymore. Like, and it's crazy to me, like my children, everything is on an iPad or Chromebook or something. But I mean, in history books, you read U.S. history, American history, African American history, world history. Like, it's not your opinion. These are things that were written down that are proven to be true. And so, I mean, and even the mentality now is just an extension of what was. So for me, I feel like all we can do, you accept what it is. I mean, you acknowledge what it is, and you don't necessarily have to personally accept it as your truth, right? So for me, I have plenty of friends of all different ethnicities, and so all you can do is really appreciate diversity, which is, again, one of the reasons why I love the Green Party, because they have the same beliefs that I have, having a respect for everybody, right? Gender equity, racial diversity, everybody matters. And for me, that is a definite truism. Nobody is any more important than anyone else. Because you have more money than I do, it doesn't make you more important. Because your skin color is different, doesn't make you any more important. Because you're a different gender, doesn't make you any more important. And I think that if we as a people could really just have common courtesy and compassion for each other despite our differences. I say all the time, we're more alike than we are different, but we simply choose to focus on the differences, and that's what makes us separated.
That's 100% true. Yeah, it's not rocket science. It's really not hard to be nice to people. It's not, and you get such positive energy back to you. It actually
absolutely
helps you to perpetuate the niceties that you direct towards other people.
Absolutely.
There's so much hate and anger in this country. It's just just and a lot of it is based on race, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not going to point fingers, but we all know who it is. Okay. So living in Chicago, what do you think about what's going on there? Do you like what Lori Lightfoot's doing?
It depends on which thing. The latest thing, I don't. So when I say that, Well, actually, a couple of things. Now the children are back in school, but we had that whole teacher walkout that they didn't want to call a strike thing. That wasn't cool, but that's been rectified. The latest thing that we're dealing with is this whole vaccination card mandate. So if you go to like public eateries, so restaurants, gyms, theaters, you have to show proof of vaccination. For me, it's not necessarily that's a big deal because I am fully vaccinated, but it's just for I feel like, and we're at the end of the show, so we can't talk about it much, but it's a tricky subject, David, and I know a lot of people are gonna look at me twice, but I don't like it. I don't like it because I feel like it's a borderline. Uh, you're dealing with people's freedoms here, the whole freedom of choice. So it's like, in order for me to go to a theater or go to a restaurant, I have to be vaccinated, regardless of whether or not I believe in the vaccine, regardless of whether or not medically it is conducive for me to get it or not. In order for me to be in compliance with you, you're basically taking away my freedom of choice. But again, I know both sides of that coin. I have had that. I'm not arguing with anybody. I just feel like it's potentially a slippery slope when you start basically taking away people's freedom of choices, regardless of how you manipulate the law to do it. That is what I have an issue with. Not that you want to keep people safe, but that it's the mandate today. What might it be tomorrow? So yeah. But other than that, I don't have a problem with her holistically. I don't have any issues with we call her Auntie Lori. So I don't have a
You
problem
call
with
her what?
Auntie
Auntie Lori?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with Auntie Lori. She all right. Other than that, she's all right with me.
Do you know her?
No, no. You know what? I wanted to, like, when she was first running against Tony Preckwinkle. I did want, like, I saw her in a couple different circles, but like once she officially became mayor, I'm like, yeah, no, if I didn't know her before, I don't stand a chance to get to know her now. So yeah, it's too much stuff on her plate, and I do not envy her at all.
No, I think that a lot about, like, higher profile politicians, whether it be a mayor of a major city or a president or senator.
Yeah.
What a drag. That
Yeah.
it's thankless. There's no gratitude. You're constantly
At
fighting
all.
your life is fight.
And
You're
you're
just
blamed for
constantly in conflict.
everything that goes wrong. You cannot make a right decision.
Everything is your fault.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you have to have thick skin or you will not make it.
Yeah. No, Stuart, real quick, I agree with you about the mandates and stuff like that. I mean, it's got this kind of Nazi weirdness going on.
Yeah.
I mean, I know people like who think that they should mandate the actual vaccine. Nobody's sticking a needle in my body without my consent. It's not happening. Even if for my betterment or no.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm vaccinated. I got my booster yesterday. I'm good to go. I think you're ridiculous if you don't believe the scientists, if you think you know more about science than scientists do.
Yeah.
That applies to the vaccines, to the pandemic, and to climate change. I mean, I've about had it with people thinking that they know more than they do. But I agree. I really have. I actually just offended somebody the other day because they said something. Anyway, but I agree. You can't, when you start forcing people.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're borderline freedom of choice. I mean, because and you're looking at, like, even with what they're talking about with the whole voting situation and changing putting a lot of different restrictions. When you put so many restrictions, you're really dealing with people's freedom of choice. And that's really, that's an amendment situation. But in either case, we're at the end of the show. We are not going to open up that can right now. But yeah, I mean, that is just, I know that I'm not always in the majority when it comes to that, but it's okay. It's my opinion, and we're all entitled to have one. So,
just speaking of freedom of choice, yes, exactly right. Yeah, we only got like a minute and a half left here. How do you want to wrap this up? You want to go ahead and promote yourself? Give us some website links and Facebook pages and all sorts of stuff.
Sure, absolutely. So, I have there are a few different pages where people can follow me. So I have an APS International page. So if there are any independent authors, artists, musicians, filmmakers looking to get more exposure, they can like that fan page for APS International. Just people in general who like to be educated and empowered, they can like that fan page, and that is going to be representative of the TV network. We have a podcast as well as a product line, so it's like not just clothing but also masks and mugs and backpacks and all of that stuff. So that's educated and empowered. And then because of the Green Party, I now have my own actual public figure page. So they can go to, I think it is Toneal Jackson, Toneal M. Jackson MBA. So if you guys want to know just about me personally in terms of what it is that I'm doing politically, spiritually, professionally, all about me, you know, that's that page there. So you can definitely hit me on my website, which is my name is Toneal.com. So MYNAMEISTONEAL.com.
All right. Any relation to Michael Jackson?
Oh, don't I wish? No, I am.
As do I.
Jackson through Mary. No relation.
Okay, well, maybe, you know, that's fine. Maybe if you did like a background check into your history, there's some connection there. All right, we got like 5 seconds left. Everybody, thank you so much for joining the Illinois Green Party series. I'm the host, David Wright. Thank you, Toneal Jackson, for being you and for being on the show. I can't wait to see what happens next. Till next time, be good, be green.